This is week 14 of the NFL, and in this Need to Know segment, we're talking about running backs. Due to a couple starters being injured, there's big value at the running back position this week, so we can expect the chalk to be a mix of cheap guys filling in and the expensive high-volume studs. The two main cheap guys are Jaylen Samuels and Jeffrey Wilson, and the three expensive ones are Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, and Ezekiel Elliott. Instead of telling you to force or fade any of these guys, I want you to think conceptually about how to differentiate your lineups when you do play these guys. Because on a week like this, tons of DFS players are going to take the cheap value, then pay up for the studs. So if these guys are on your teams, it's really important that you gain leverage at other positions. For running back pivots, I like Alvin Kamara, Lamar Miller, and both San Diego backs, Austin Ekeler and Justin Jackson. After 3 underwhelming games in a row, I think the masses are a little off Alvin Kamara, and his price is the lowest it's been in 5 weeks. The Buccaneers have been an awful team against all running backs this season, but especially bad against pass-catching backs. And despite sharing snaps with Mark Ingram, Kamara still handles the bulk of the red zone and goal line touches. Houston running back Lamar Miller has over 100 yards from scrimmage in 3 straight games, and the Texans are one of the most run-heavy teams in the league. His lack of passing work is frustrating, but Miller has 20 touches in 4 of his last 6, and the game script is very favorable against Indy. I'll add that Miller is a better play on DraftKings, where he's cheaper and eligible for a 100-yard rushing bonus. Last week, Justin Jackson stole some of Austin Ekeler's touches and thunder, and Chargers coach Anthony Lynn says Ekeler is wearing down a bit. Jackson was highly efficient on limited touches, and I expect him to outtouch Ekeler this week. But Ekeler should remain a big presence in the passing game, and they'll both see plenty of red zone looks in what should be a Chargers blowout. While I think both these guys are viable, Jackson looks like the better play at his price. There's a big gap in pricing between the sites, so the best contrarian options are fairly different. But a couple low-owned guys I generally like on both sites are LeSean McCoy and Stevan Ridley. McCoy has been a dud for the last 2 weeks, but now the Bills are favored, and when these teams met 3 weeks ago, Shady had his best game of the season. The Jets have allowed a ridiculous 205 rushing yards per game over their last 3. And with their tiny team total, I think McCoy makes a great pairing with the Bills' defense. Steelers running back Stevan Ridley is technically playing behind Jaylen Samuels, but coaches have said that Ridley will mix in series and that they'll ride the hot hand. Ridley was something of a home run hitter back in his day, but it is concerning that he hasn't posted a big game since 2014. Still, he'll be like 1% owned, get a real opportunity in this game, and if something happens to Jaylen Samuels, then it's all Ridley. That's it for our video on running backs, but if you want to check out who we think is going to be a great quarterback, receiver, or tight end play, look at Week 14's Need to Know.